Okay, so this right here, trigger warning, is probably going to be a little bit of an emotional video. Now, as you can tell by the title, we're talking about something kind of deep. This has been about 10 years ago and I've done a lot of healing from it. However, I've not really told this story in depth, like ever. And so I literally just tried to record the video and I was like, oh my God, I have to stop because I was getting kind of emotional. But I want to share my story because I feel like it can help other people who are going through what I've gone through or who have gone through it and maybe, you know, you're kind of losing hope right now. So as you can see by the title, we're talking about my abusive relationship, what went on, how I left, what happened after I left. For anything, please like the video and subscribe if you're not already. And, you know, leave a comment, leave a purple heart below because purple is the color for domestic violence. So, okay. I was in an abusive relationship with my son's father. You guys don't know because I don't really post my son often, but I have a son. He's almost 10. And I was with my son's father from the time that I was 16 to 21. We met in high school. We didn't go to the same high school, but we're from Arkansas, okay? It ain't big. So we met that way, and when we were about 18 or 19, we moved in together. Okay, it was both of our first place. I was fresh out of high school. He was fresh out of high school. And because he's only a year older than me. I didn't realize that I was in an abusive relationship at first. Obviously, before we moved in together, we had fight and stuff like that, but we weren't living together. So there's certain things that just were not going on. But the moment that we did move in together, that's whenever everything started. It was physical, it was emotional, and financial too. When we initially moved in with one another, he was super controlling. I really wasn't allowed to have friends. I wasn't allowed to do anything. Even like my male family members, if I talked to them, we were getting into a fight. If I did my makeup and if I put an effort to my appearance, and maybe that's why I'm so big on appearance now, because for a while I wasn't allowed to, or else I was getting like cussed out. I was getting hands put on me. You know, it was a lot of control and a lot of abuse. And it would even, so when we would have fights, sometimes he would like take all my stuff and like throw it at me and break my stuff, right? When I say it was financial abuse, he had a drug problem. We both had jobs. Mind you, we're 20, or how old were you? Fucking 18 and 19 whenever we moved in with each other. So we're both like still kids, basically. So I, like, if he didn't have money to buy drugs, if I didn't give it to him, I was getting my ass beat. Like, there's just, if he had a bad day, I was getting my ass beat. If I look at him the wrong way, I'm getting, like, it was pretty bad. And if you're asking where was my family at during this time, they tried to help me leave multiple times. However, when it comes to people who are in an abusive relationship, it can take up to 7 times of attempting to leave before successfully leaving your abuser. And that was the case with me. My parents had always been there. They'd always helped me, but I kept going back. I just did, okay? I can't explain. I was being abused. It was just, you have Stockholm syndrome, you get manipulated and threatened. There's just so many things that go into it. And I don't think that people that have never been in that situation are ever going to understand. But I did continue to go back and stay in that relationship. And it got to a point that I remember I was just like, I woke up one day and I was so depressed. Like, I would cry every day and I was just like, oh my God, is this my life? Like, I'm so young, but I'm here. I live in this small town. I am with this person that hates me and treats me like shit every day. And when I tell you guys, like, on a day-to-day basis, I was getting cussed out. I was getting told I was ugly. I was getting told that nobody would ever want me. Like, getting stuff thrown at me. It's a time where he, I'm trying not to get emotional because I haven't talked about this stuff. There's a time where he busted my lip really bad and told me that you're gonna tell people that you busted your lip when we were kissing. It was crazy. It was crazy. I end up getting pregnant. Mind you, the age 20 is very important, okay? When I was 20, I enrolled in school to be a medical assistant. And like right after I enrolled in school, I found out that I was pregnant. At that point, I was torn between, I just didn't know what to do. But I knew that I wanted my baby. And I'm just, oh my God, I love my baby so much. But I knew that I wanted to have my baby. And I knew that I was gonna figure everything out. and that, sorry, I'm getting emotional, and I knew that we were going to be okay. And when I got pregnant, when I tell you guys the abuse went up times 100, like there's a time, sorry, trigger warning again, but there's a time where he like, how do I explain? I was up against the wall and he like choked me, and like my feet were off the ground, and he was, so many things happened in that relationship, and I knew that if I didn't leave for me, I had no choice but to leave for my son. If I wasn't gonna leave for me, I had to leave for my baby. And so go through the pregnancy. Even the day that I went to get induced, he was cussing me out. It was after I had my son. I went through really bad postpartum depression, obviously with all the shit that I was going through. And even then, like, he would spend so much time telling me like, oh yeah, like you're my baby mom, like now you can never leave me, nobody's really gonna want you now because you have a child and your body's messed up. Because I've had his baby, he just felt like, yeah, I was never gonna go anywhere. So I had my baby in February of 2015. I had my son 14 days to the day before my 21st birthday. As I mentioned earlier, I left him when I was 21. That whole year was just really, it was really rough. It was beautiful because I had my son, but it was hard on me, right? And I remember my son's first Christmas, he abused me and he sent me to the hospital. And in the midst of all this, I do want you guys to know, like, I had filed police reports many times, okay? There's that. But that night, I grew angry. I grew so angry. And I think throughout my son's first year of life, at that point, I was kind of there because I was a medical assistant, right? MAs don't make much money. And I was terrified of how I was going to take care of my son by myself, and I think that's why I kind of stayed a lot within that first year. That night on Christmas, I was like, you know what, I don't deserve this, and I'm never gonna deal with it again. And so I ended up going to my leasing office a couple days later, and they already knew what was going on, and I was like, I have to leave, like, what can I do? And basically they were like, you need to write up a sheet of paper saying that he's going to be off the lease and you guys both have to sign it. I write up the sheet of paper. I go to make him sign it. Y'all, he rips the paper. He rips the paper in half. And something came over me. I don't know what. Something came over me that day. And I fought him back that day. I fought him back. I'll never forget, like, I fought him back. I didn't care what he did to me. I didn't care. I was like, I have to fight for me, and I have to fight for my son. And I was like, he has to sign this paper and he has to go. And so we get into a fight. I get him to end up signing the paper. I take it to the leasing office the next day, and he ends up moving out. It was not a smooth transition of him moving out. It was kind of rough. But he ends up moving out. However, I was still being like, oh God, hold on, y'all. Okay, sorry. Like I said, I didn't realize that talking about this would make me so emotional. But, okay. So when he ends up moving out, he obviously still knew where I lived at, duh, because he had been living there with me. And he knew somebody that lived above us, so he would still kind of come and like try to keep an eye on me. I remember one day I asked him for like $10 to buy whites and milk, and he called me a broke bitch. He started quitting his jobs and like not helping financially because he felt like if he didn't help me financially, I would have to take him back. And of course, obviously I never did. I think a really big thing with me, again, where I was afraid to leave is because I was afraid to struggle, and I didn't know how I was going to take care of a newborn baby by myself. So after I leave that relationship and I get him moved out, my worst fears came true, and I struggled really bad. And within that first year, oh my God. So mind you, let me backtrack. I was working at a doctor's office at the time because that was my career. Luckily we had a psychiatrist there. When I left that relationship, I was just struggling a lot mentally. Mind you, if you have been following me, whatever, you know, if you've been keeping up with my stories and stuff, you guys know that I went, like, I've always struggled with anxiety. I went in a long-term facility at 14 years old, so I've always had a therapist on hand. So there's a therapist, psychiatrist, whichever one, at the job that I worked at a family practice, and I just kept having breakdowns. And I went to see her at work one day, and that's where I got diagnosed with PTSD. No surprise there. And I had to learn how to deal with that. So it's like, I'm a newly single mother of my son was like what, of a 1-year-old child. I don't have my shit together. I'm struggling mentally, and I just left an abusive relationship. It was pretty rough, and within that first year, I kid you guys not, in hindsight, everything happens for a reason, but like, y'all, I ended up losing my job. Okay, I lost my job around December. This is, again, about a year after I left my son's father. I lost my job around December. I end up losing my apartment. I got evicted, and then I kid you not, on my birthday, okay, in February, I was driving home. Somebody ran a stop sign, hits my car, and totals it out. I didn't have insurance. Okay, mind you guys, I'm broke at this time. Totals my car. So within a 3-month time period, I lose my job, I lose my home, I lose my car. I lost everything. And it was, like I said, my worst fear came true. Like, I struggled. It was hard. I had to pick myself up. It was hard. But when I tell you guys, it gets so much better. Obviously now, so it's been about 10 years, because in February, my son turns 10 and I turn 31. And I think I'm just here to tell you guys that, like, if you're in an abusive relationship, or if you've gone through that and you're at the beginning stages where you're scared or you're struggling, it's gonna get better, okay? Some days are gonna be harder than others, and you're gonna have to show up for yourself, you know, and you're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to hold space for yourself, and you're gonna have to get up on days that you don't want to, or days when you don't know how you're gonna do it, but you have to get up. You have to fight for yourself. You have to show up for yourself, and you have to have faith that it's gonna get better, because it does. I promise you. Like I said, I'm 10 years out of being in that abusive relationship, and the things that I've experienced and the way that my life turned out, it's like, if I could go back and tell 21-year-old me the life that we were gonna live and give her a hug, I would, because everything got better. It got worse before it got better, but it got so much better. It took a lot of therapy. I had to show up no matter what was going on. I had to show up. I did everything that I had to do to get me to where I wanted to be, because I knew that I couldn't fail. And especially, like, and I think that's why I'm so big on chasing my dreams and doing the things that I want, because at that time I felt like I didn't have anything to lose. I had lost everything, and I had a child to take care of. I had lost everything, and I felt like, if I don't have anything else to lose, then maybe I have everything to gain. And I did, you know, like, I did. And if you guys are wondering where I'm at currently with my son's father, we don't talk to each other. We just don't. I could do a whole nother video on the past 10 years and what's happened and like how I got to this point. But yeah, I could say that it took a lot of sacrifice, me doing a lot of things that I had to do that I didn't, especially, so when I first got evicted from my apartment and everything, I ended up moving to Clarksville, right outside of Nashville, and I stayed with my brother. And it was there where I was like, I had to get my shit together. And y'all, I was working at Hooters. I was working doubles 6 days a week, okay? And I used to put all my tips in a makeup bag, and it was there that I saved back up. I bought me a cash car. I paid off all my debt. I got my credit score back up. I kind of got myself together for, you know, for what it's worth out there. And then yeah, like life has happened. I've had so many great experiences. I've chased my dreams, but I can say, because I don't want nobody looking at me and feeling like, oh my god, you know, nope, I did not have it easy. I did not have it easy, and I had to work very hard to get here. Like, very hard. One, because I am a single mother. Two, because of dealing with anxiety and PTSD along the way. And three, having to really like sacrifice. Oh my god, like I had to work to get to where I'm at. It wasn't an easy thing. And like I said, I don't want anybody to ever look at where I'm at now or where I've been at for the past few years and like, oh my god, you know, nope, it was not easy. It wasn't, but it got done. I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of have to rely on myself, you know. I have to rely on me because I'm a parent. I can't fail because I have a child. I do. And I have to show him to show up every day and to chase his dreams and to do, and it's such a beautiful thing. Y'all, my son, he's like, that's my best friend. Like, he looks just like me. It's so interesting because now he's getting older, and it's just, oh my god, like navigating parenthood with a preteen, it's such an interesting thing. But I can say that leaving that relationship was the best thing that I ever did. And like I said, if you're going through it, know that you're gonna be okay. Know that it does get better. Know that you're not alone. There's so many women out there and men who have gone through this and made it out on the other side. Even if they didn't think they would, it gets better, and everything's gonna be okay. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If this video helps even one person and gives even one person hope that it's gonna be okay, then I feel like I've done my job. I love you guys. I promise this is probably gonna be like the heaviest thing that we talk about on this channel. We'll go back to lighthearted videos. But yeah, have a good day, guys.